Meg O'Neill, welcome to the program and congratulations on your appointment overnight as Woodside CEO.
Thank you.
Meg, you've commenced the role with a huge announcement overnight. Woodside will pick up BHP's petroleum business. What was the most attractive feature of this deal and what are the synergies it will unlock?
Oh, look, this is a tremendous deal. It's a tremendous opportunity for Woodside. It will do some things in terms of bringing together a geographically diverse portfolio. It will give us an additional investment choice. If we look at it from a financial perspective, we will have the cash flow, the balance sheet, the financial strength to fund not just our planned near-term investments, but also investments into energy transition, as well as be able to provide a return to our shareholders throughout the cycle. It unlocks our ability to progress the Scarborough and Pluto Train 2 developments. I think it's important to acknowledge that in today's world, that it'll help us fund our decarbonization journey.
Meg, do you have any concerns that Woodside will face reputational risk by taking on these assets, given gas and oil projects are increasingly being shunned by some investors due to environmental concerns?
Look, I think the starting point is to acknowledge that when these two companies come together, there's no increase in the world's emissions. We will continue to be transparent in reporting our equity emissions, and we will apply the same emissions reduction targets to the combined portfolio that we've committed to for Woodside's own portfolio. So we've committed to reduce emissions by 15% by 2025, 30% by 2030 on a pathway to net zero by 2050, and we'll apply that same discipline over the combined portfolio.
So this merger doesn't make Woodside's path to decarbonisation any more difficult? You won't have to buy carbon credits to meet any of those short and medium-term emission targets?
Well, look, our absolute abatement commitments will grow, but one of the things that we did in 2018 was we put together a carbon team, and the carbon team's been doing some really fantastic work in terms of building our capability in generating our own offsets through environmental planting, and we're looking at some HIR projects, as well as participating in the carbon market. So I'm actually very pleased to say that we've got sufficient offsets in our offset quote-unquote bank account to cover the needs of the combined company for that 2025 commitment.
Meg, you mentioned the cash flow this deal will bring. Just how critical will this merger be to the success and funding for the Scarborough project?
Well, look, it certainly makes things substantially clearer. So with Scarborough, it's a very significant investment. As we communicated to the markets, our latest cost outlook is $12 billion US. So that's a very significant commitment for a company of our size. We have been pursuing some sell downs, so we'll try to reduce the capital load for our company by selling down our equity in Pluto Train 2, Scarborough offshore, as well as our Sangomar investment in Senegal. One of the things that the combined company does with the merger is it provides the cash flow to really relieve some of that pressure. Now, we will continue to run those sell down processes because we think it will be valuable to have good joint venture partners and to ensure that we have capital available for other investments. But in many ways, this sets us up on a very clean pathway to that final investment decision for Scarborough and Train 2.
Well, Woodside will issue new shares to existing BHP shareholders who will end up with 48% of the company. What about those BHP shareholders who didn't invest in BHP to become shareholders in a merged petroleum business owned by Woodside? How will you keep those on board?
So we've done quite a bit of analysis trying to understand the shareholders who hold BHP today and how they compare to shareholders that hold Woodside today. There is significant overlap in those two groups. We do recognize that there are some BHP shareholders today who, for one reason or another, are unlikely to come across to the new company. But we've also identified a number of BHP shareholders and other shareholders out in the market who hold significant equity positions in energy companies that are comparably sized to where we will be as a merged entity. And so we do see the opportunity to attract some new shareholders to the register.
Well, on to your results. Woodside has seen a 31% increase in revenue. NPAT has rebounded to $317 million US. You've increased the dividend. Pretty big turnaround from last year. Can you unpack some of those results?
This year, we're seeing some really positive things. So obviously, the demand for oil and gas has improved. So the market conditions are quite positive. We've seen that trend carry through into the third quarter. So the market conditions are very strong, and the fundamentals of the business, the team's executing in a really exceptional way. So production remains strong, very good focus on cost management, continuing to deliver on our commitments to our shareholders.
And Meg, what is the outlook for Woodside? Can the momentum be sustained? And where will the growth come from, and where might the risks emerge?
Look, the message I've been giving to the team since I stepped into the acting CEO role, and will continue to give to the team, is we've got a couple of key focus areas. In our base business, we need to continue to be a safe, reliable, and cost-efficient LNG operator. And that means really driving to be more efficient in how we do our work, making sure that we're generating the highest margin we can for our shareholders. We do have near-term growth planned for 2023 when our Sangomar project is expected to produce first oil. That's a project that we're developing offshore Senegal. And then the Scarborough final investment decision, which we've been working towards in the second half of this year. That'll be a very significant catalyst for production growth in the second half of the 2020s. But the fourth priority for us is making sure that we are ready for the energy transition. We've obviously been working on hydrogen and ammonia opportunities for a while, and I think we're on the cusp of being able to take some of those into the feed stage with a pathway to FID in the not too distant future. And so that's really the fourth pillar that we're working on as an organization.
Meg O'Neill, many thanks for joining us on The Business.
Thank you.